Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to my review for the long-awaited, the long-anticipated movie event of the summer. Screw everything else. This is gonna be the biggest movie yet, and if you don't agree, screw you, especially if you're Rotten Tomatoes, you're going down, and I'm gonna fucking make sure of it. But anyway, Suicide Squad, baby, it's here. It's here finally after over a year of waiting. The freaking first trailer came out July last year during Comic-Con. And ever since then, ever since before that, with all the production and, seeing the Joker played by Jared Leto, all the production stills and just hearing the cast, people were excited. Then the trailer, then the other trailer, then the other trailer after that, then the other trailer after that. There was about 400 trailers and TV spots and whatnot. It's finally here. And I was hyped. I was. Those trailers were great. All of them, especially the second one with Bohemian Rhapsody. Loved it. Loved the last one. Loved the one with Ballroom Blitz in it. Loved the first one with the joke. What was the song again? I forgot. But anyway, great trailers. I couldn't wait for this. Joker, Harley Quinn. Finally, we're going to see Harley Quinn in a live-action movie. Like I said, Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, if you care. Killer Croc, who I love. All these characters. Amanda Waller. We're going to see all these characters finally on the big screen in an actual live action movie. I'll bet with tons of special effects everywhere, but live action for the most part. I was pumped. I've seen a lot of disappointing movies this summer. Overall, this summer, so far, I know it's not over yet, but so far, it's been a pretty damn weak summer. Like, Civil War was great. I love The Conjuring 2. I really like Star Trek Beyond. I heard Lights Out was great. Still haven't seen it. Finding Dory I haven't even seen yet. I know, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but I haven't seen it yet. I was waiting until kids weren't in my theater anymore because I hate kids in theaters because they're annoying. But, there has been some damn good ones, but there's been so many disappointing ones, and especially in this last month, July. You had Legend of Tarzan, Jason Bourne, even Star Trek Beyond in some degree. I still really liked it, but it was disappointing considering how much I loved the last two. There's just so many. Warcraft I really didn't like. X-Men Apocalypse wasn't that great. There's so many movies that I just found to be very disappointing. Movies I was really looking forward to. And I'm sad to say, this is another one, but the reviews have been really negative. I actually, at this point, I think they're worse than Batman v Superman. I could be wrong, but I think Batman v Superman is at like a 28%. I think this is at like a 26% right now on Rotten Tomatoes, which is ridiculous. Because I think this movie is definitely better than Batman v Superman. It's a better made movie. It has much more humor and much more characteristics that I enjoy in a movie like this, and I find this movie just to be an easier sit than Batman v Superman. But that's not to say this movie is not disappointing. It is, like I said before, it is a disappointing movie. Maybe more so than stuff like Jason Bourne and Star Trek, because I was so excited for this. I really was. I've said this before, but I really was. Jason Bourne, I wasn't really quite feeling the trailers. I thought they were good, but not like, I wasn't like, yeah! I was like, this just seems like another Jason Bourne thing. Same thing with Star Trek. I was like, this is another Star Trek thing, and also the first trailer wasn't that great. So, I was going into those with some skepticism. This one, if there was no reviews out, I would be going in there like, yeah, it's going to be a great time. I'm glad I read reviews ahead of time, because I went in there with just, alright, I'm going to try to like it, but I'm not going to go in there, yeah, woo, I can't wait. I went in there skeptical, and I left mildly entertained, but still not in love. Now, the main problem with Suicide Squad, I felt, is that it was a little too long. I felt like it could have easily shaved off maybe an hour off the runtime. Oh, they could have also actually got rid of all of the actors. Actually, get rid of all the actors. We don't need the actors. Get just a couple of animators and just do an animation. Like do an animation. They're really good, the DC animation crew. They're really good at doing the animations for the most part, unless you're talking about freaking Killing Joke. But they do a damn good job for the most part. animate it, make it around like 70, 75 minutes long. You don't need to make it too long because it's a simple premise. You know, a bunch of bad guys become good guys forcefully. They have to fight a bad guy. That's pretty much it. You know, put it out on DVD. You don't even need to put it out in theaters. We don't need that. Just put it out on DVD. Yeah, they already did that. So why the fuck? Why is the straight-to-DVD animated movie that you can get now for $10? You could own a much better Suicide Squad movie right now for less than it costs to get a ticket to see this movie. And it's half the length. You get more characterization. It's more entertaining. The action is better. Now, whoa. Let me stop myself because I know a lot of DC fanboys are about to jump down my throat and say, oh, you didn't like this movie, you like Batman v Superman. I'm leaving. Dislike. Oh, you're fat. Bye. Like, I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but it isn't a great film. And the Suicide Squad movie from a couple years ago did it way better. It was much tighter, much smoother, much quicker. And when you finished the movie, you felt satisfied, you felt full. That was good. This movie, not so much. This one overstays its welcome by at least 30 minutes. There's a lot of action scenes that are just like really choppily edited at times, especially the ending. Like the ending, not that it was choppily edited, but the ending fight scene is so ridiculously dumb that I couldn't stay with it. I really couldn't. And I don't want to spoil it. When I do a spoiler discussion, I will talk about this ending fight scene because it has to be talked about because I want to say something really badly about it, but I'm not going to do that to refrain from spoilers. But there's nothing big like that happens in the movie. It's just something silly that I want to talk about. But anyway, there's some action scenes that just do not work in this movie. Like there's one like towards the end of the film that is just like in a small office that is so like choppily edited. They do slow motion sometimes, but it's like so quick I couldn't even tell who was fighting at times. And it was very dark. The movie is shot at night most of the movie. Like when it gets to the whole Suicide Squad part of the movie, it's about like 50 minutes in, and the Suicide Squad are formed together and they're gonna go stop the evil threat. It's at night, and a lot of the action like is just night shots of people doing this and attacking, and you know Harley Quinn has her bat, she's batting people in the head and stuff, and it's just so confusing at times. Now, that's not to say there isn't some good action scenes. There is one really good one with Deadshot, actually, where Deadshot and everybody else are fighting off this horde of enemies, and Deadshot just says, you know what, screw it, and he runs in and he starts shooting everybody, and he's the only one that's actually doing anything at a certain point. Everybody else is just watching him because he's going fucking crazy, and that was an awesome action scene. So there is some good action scenes. Okay, the first 30 minutes is excellent in this movie. Not saying there's action scenes, but the first 30 minutes is a really good introduction to these characters. Like, you get to see a little bit of each character, some more than others, definitely. Like Will Smith's character, Deadshot, you get to see way more of than someone like Boomerang, Captain Boomerang. But you get to see a little bit of each one, and you're introduced to them at least in some way, unless your name is, what's his name? Slipdash, what was his name? Spin Dash, what was his name? Freaking, I don't even know. Slipknot. Unless you're Slipknot. No one gives a shit about Slipknot. So while the first 30 minutes are good, the introductions are interesting and fun to watch, after that, the movie is still fun, it's still being entertaining, but it gets way more chaotic with the editing. Like I said before, the editing and the action is insane, but there's even times where they're doing flashbacks and the editing is insane. I'm just like, okay, this is this is getting crazy. And there's even some sluggish pacing where like it will pick up and it's going, and we're getting to that Suicide Squad moment where they're all together and stuff, and then it'll slow down again, and I'm just like, oh my god, just get to it. And it really does take about 50 to an hour of this movie to actually get to the Suicide Squad where they're all together and they're about to do the mission. You know, everything else is just like build up towards it, which at first I was liking. The first 30 minutes I liked, and then it was, you know, the next 20 or so minutes it was just like, okay, let's get to it, come on. And with that being said, like, they could have easily edited some stuff out, some really slow scenes, and added some character moments that would have been really cool. Like, I would have liked if we just had a moment in the beginning where these characters meet and they actually had like a good like conversation or something. I know they're bad guys and some of them are crazy, but it would have been nice if like Killer Croc had a conversation with Boomerang or they had some sort of interaction. They have a little bit of that, but not too much, where you don't really care about most of the lesser Suicide Squad members. Like, you don't really care much about Boomerang. He's just there to throw out a quip and throw a boomerang once or twice. Killer Croc, he just looks weird. I mean, the makeup is excellent for Killer Croc, don't get me wrong. But he's just there to snarl and say something like a one-liner like, "I'm beautiful," which, admittedly, that was a funny scene. But, there's some character, like Katana barely talks. Her character, Katana, who is this, like, sword-wielding badass who has a sword that, like, swallows souls. Like, when she kills someone, the soul gets trapped inside the blade, which is awesome. The only, like, 5 lines she says is about her dead husband. That's her whole character development moment, and that's all she does, is just look cool and say, "My husband, I will avenge him." You know, that's her sword. And she chops some dudes in half. And there's just so many characters that could have been more interesting if we shaved off some of the really slow stuff and added more moments of them being characters. I would have liked that way more than some of the shoddy action scenes. And the last 30, not even the last 30 minutes, like the last 20 minutes is just insane action that is so dumb. And the villain is lame. I won't spoil who the villain is just in case anybody gives a shit. But the villain is lame. Even more lamer than the villain was in Batman v Superman, and I'm talking about that villain, not Lex Luthor. And it was just such a like a whimper to end this movie on. It was really like, it reminded me kind of Fantastic Four, not as bad, mind you, but Fantastic Four, the one from last year, of course. How it just like, we need to save the world, and it gets done, and it's over. It just felt like, I don't know. It should have been either more badass or edited down to be shorter and have more stuff, so when a character either gets hurt or killed, you're like, "Oh no! Now I'm more invested." Besides, like, just a long action scene, and if someone gets hurt, you're like, whatever, I don't care about the character, and also this action is lame. So, I don't know. It could have been edited down. It has its moments. The Joker is a really good Joker here. Jared Leto nailed it. I should say that. He's only in the movie about 15 minutes early. But he nailed it. He's not the best Joker out there, but I would say he's a close runner-up for Heath Ledger. And I mean runner-up. Like him and like Jack Nicholson are head-to-head. And Mark Hamill I don't count because he never played Joker in live action. Because if we're talking about all Jokers, he's not even close. Because Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger are always like, they're like tied to me. Like, not tied to me, but they're tied in my ranking of Jokers. But if we're talking about live action Jokers, he's close to Jack Nicholson. You know, he's better than Cesar Romero, that's for sure. But again, I can't really judge him too much because it's only been 15 minutes we see him in this. And really, his character could have been edited out of the entire movie and nothing would have changed. And you know what? Even though the Joker was great in this, I would have accepted a 15-minute edit of him out completely and just filled it again with better character development. You know? Me, I love a movie with a good story or great characters, or both, of course. You know, if it has a great story and a great selection of characters, of course I love that. But I will take either or at this point for a movie like this. And we didn't get a good story, and we got a lot of really good characters, but then a lot that are just non-characters. Characters that just get killed off just to show a point. Like, the whole point of, like, they have bombs in their neck, and if they screw around, like the Suicide Squad, then their heads are gonna explode. One of the characters that was advertised as, like, one of the main characters gets their heads blown off. And that's it. Like, they're just there to prove a point. And I don't get me wrong, the Suicide Squad movie from a couple years ago did the same thing. But that one was 70 minutes long. This is a 2-hour and 10-minute movie that was hyped for what feels like years at this point, which I know it was only like a year and a half maybe, but it felt like years of hype. And when you're advertising like all these characters in it, and then one of them gets killed off and they say 2 lines, like, it just feels cheap to me. I don't know. There's some really good visuals, there's some nice humor here and there, but the script itself is just not all that well put together. There's some really bad dialogue here and there when it's not trying to be humorous, or it's even some characters that you don't really care about. Like, when they're reading dialogue, you're like, I don't give a shit about this character. There's so many moments where I was just like, yeah, I'm with this. There's a whole scene in a bar later on in the movie, which you see in the third trailer, which is really well done. It's a great moment where they sit down and build character. And I'm like, yes! Finally, we get to know about Diablo's character, which I ended up liking his character because we got to know more about him. But we don't get too much of that, and that's the part that really upset me. I was really looking forward to this because these characters looked so unique for this world and so interesting, and it kind of blew it. I mean, again, Deadshot is great. I really like Will Smith as Deadshot. He is Deadshot to me at this point. Same thing with Margot Robbie, and Jared Leto did a great job as the Joker, but they're barely in it. I will say this. I really like the whole thing they're doing with the DC Universe where just randomly characters will show up, like Batman shows up just out of nowhere at a certain point in this movie, like the first 30 minutes. Like, Batman just shows up. He's in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. But he shows up, and he's a very, very minor character. Again, the Suicide Squad movie from a couple years ago did that way better because, I'll just say this. First 30 minutes, you see Batman. After that, you never see him again. Just say that. I'm just tempering your expectation. I don't want you going in, going, oh boy, Batman's going to be in the whole movie, and then you get disappointed. I'm just saving you from disappointment. That's not a spoiler. That's me helping you. Okay? So, I like that, but I do like that Batman just shows up in some other movies, and certain other characters just show up. And, Amanda Waller is a really interesting character. I wish she was in it more as well, but she's an interesting character, played terrifically by Viola Davis. But, again, that's a character that I would like to see in other movies. Like, I'd like to see her in the next Batman movie, or maybe even Justice League. That'd be cool, just having all these characters just show up randomly, just small little segments. Like, have Boomerang be a villain in the next Batman or something. Like, small things. That would have been cool. But besides that, I don't have anything else to say about Suicide Squad until I do my spoiler discussion. I still enjoyed it. There was some good stuff, some good action scenes here and there, some good character moments here and there, some funny lines here and there, some good visuals here and there. But this movie can easily be described as good here and there. It's sluggish. The direction isn't amazing. I love David Ayer, but it's a little disappointed with the direction here. The screenwriting isn't great either, so again, I'm disappointed David Ayer. I don't know, I don't have anything else to say. There's some good Easter eggs. There's a couple of good Easter eggs that a lot of DC fans will enjoy. It's really, the soundtrack was a little obnoxious. It felt like a Zack Snyder movie at that point, where Zack Snyder always likes to add his favorite music to the movie. Like, he didn't do it for Batman v Superman, but he did it for, or Man of Steel, but he did it for freaking Watchmen and Sucker Punch and those kind of movies where he just adds music, just like loud cover bands. And there's no real cover bands here, but you still get a lot of just random music played randomly. But besides that, it's still a fun movie. I know I'm sounding very negative on it, but it is a fun movie. It has some good stuff, but it just feels... It's a pale comparison to what came out already and to what, I'm sorry, but what Marvel does. I'm sorry. I don't want to feel like I'm the Marvel fanboy. I'm a Marvel fan. I like their movies because they're fucking good. Like, of course I'll be a fan of something that is good, you know? Of course Marvel has a misstep here and there. I didn't like Thor 2 that much, even though I think I gave it a good score when I reviewed it. And the same thing with Iron Man 3. And Iron Man 2, probably. But those are movies I don't really care for. So, I'm not a diehard fanboy for Marvel. I just like what they do because they do good shit. I don't know. DC, I hope Justice League and Wonder Woman looks awesome. I can't wait for that. And it has a great director. Again, the same thing with this one. But it has a great director in it, so there is a chance where it's going to be really good. But I'm really not hopeful for the future of DC. This is still a fun movie at times, but it's not amazing. I'm so disappointed. I was looking forward to this way more than Batman v Superman. By the time Batman v Superman got here, I was like, I mean, whatever. I mean, the reviews were bad, so that's why my anticipation was tempered. But this one, bad reviews, I was still like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe not as much as I was before, but yeah, I'm excited. Overall, I give it a 26 out of 40. You know, still not a terrible score. That's like average it out. I think that's like a 6 or something like that out of 10, maybe 6.5. So it's not terrible. It has moments, but I don't know. It could have been so much better. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, thank you and goodbye.